Ladies and gentlemen, the world is in chaos. The world is in constant chaos. So, what better to do than wind down with some geography facts? And that's exactly what this video claims to be uplifting geography and culture facts while the world burns. Burns. Whoa. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, Geography Geek, absolutely amazing channel. The link to this video will be in the description down below. So please go and check it out. And yeah, let's take the next 10 minutes or so and just kind of try to put all the bad stuff, out of our brain.
This was one of the most difficult videos I've made. Turns out, it's way easier to come up with and find depressing facts instead of uplifting ones.
So true. The world runs on depression and sadness and conflict.
Anyway, here are at least 10 minutes of geography and culture facts to help you ignore the world's problems. On May 11, 1942, a British Navy ship was sunk by a German U-boat off Ocracoke Island, North Carolina. 4 sailors are buried there in a small cemetery known as Forever England, a plot of land leased to the UK in perpetuity. Each spring, locals, US and British military, and even Canadian forces gather for a ceremony with bagpipes, a 21-gun salute, and a reading of the crew list.
I've never Bojangles. I've never heard of this. I've never heard of that fact. That's a uplifting fact, I guess. The unity between countries that at one point in time were enemies, and the celebration of people that have been lost. I live in North Carolina. I've never heard of that. So interesting.
Bojangles, a US-based fast food chain known for its southern-style fried chicken, buttermilk biscuits.
I've had Bojangles a couple times. It's okay. Yeah, I don't really eat fast food. I shouldn't even I shouldn't even grade it. I haven't had Bojangles in like 5 years. I don't eat fast food, but last time I had it, it was okay.
Seasoned fries, and sweet tea has hundreds of locations across the southeastern United States. It currently has just 2 international locations. Both are located on Roatan Island, Honduras. Since the time of this World War II era map, which showed malaria as widespread across much of the world, the disease has been eliminated in over 40 countries.
Wow. Malaria free. Look at this. Holy heck. A lot of countries still, unfortunately, have to deal with malaria, but good on the countries that got rid of it.
The Lewis and Clark expedition named many rivers and landmarks after members of their group, like the Sacagawea River, named in 1805 after Sacagawea saved crucial items from a capsized boat. Among them were scientific notes, maps, and journals. Had they been lost, the entire mission's purpose could have failed. In that moment, Sacagawea didn't just save supplies, she may have saved the legacy of the expedition itself. Another is Pompey's Pillar in Montana, named after Sacagawea's infant son, who William Clark nicknamed Pompey. In
I didn't know that.
Spanish-speaking countries, R2D2 is nicknamed Arturito, which means Little Arthur. In London,
what what historical, geographical, or cultural significance does Arturito have?
London's Trafalgar Square stands a statue of George Washington, placed there in 1921 as a gift from the state of Virginia. It's a replica of the original in Richmond. Out of respect for his vow never to set foot on British soil, the statue stands atop soil brought from Virginia. 8 countries now generate 99% or more of their electricity from renewable energy.
Good.
Albania, Bhutan, Ethiopia, Iceland, Nepal, Paraguay, and Norway. Most rely heavily on hydropower, with some also using geothermal and other clean sources. I think this is an uplifting fact, but Japan burns much of its trash to save space and uses the leftover ash to build artificial islands, especially in Tokyo Bay. One of these islands is home to Tokyo Disneyland.
I mean, I didn't know that. Typically you don't want to burn trash, but at least they're repurposing it in a way that benefits the country.
Elk once roamed much of eastern North America, but the native eastern elk went extinct in the 1800s due to overhunting and habitat loss. Thankfully, elk were reintroduced in the 1900s using animals from the western U.S., and now they thrive again in places like Pennsylvania, Kentucky, and the Great Smoky Mountains.
That's good.
The Hawaiian language was banned in schools in 1896, and over the next century, the number of speakers dropped to just a couple thousand. But in the 1980s, native speakers and activists launched a revival, starting immersion preschools and expanding into public K-12 programs after the ban was lifted in 1986.
That's perfect. That's amazing. I didn't know it was banned. Um, no, yeah, I mean, native languages, regional languages, mother tongues should be kept and taught because it's not only just a language. It's it's their culture, right? It's their history. It's who they are as a people.
Hawaiian was also made an official state language in 1978. Today, about 27,000 people in Hawaii speak or understand Hawaiian. After forced removal and years of assimilation, the Cherokee language was in danger of disappearing. But in the 1800s, one man, Sequoyah, spent years creating a writing system for Cherokee. His syllabary
Wow,
not only sparked a literacy boom, bringing the Cherokee Nation to nearly 100% literacy within 25 years, higher than surrounding settlers, but also helped unite a divided Cherokee people. Though the language later declined, today it's making a comeback through immersion schools, recordings of elders, and digital tools and language learning apps.
that's awesome.
A handful of countries have no official military force. Nations like Andorra and many Pacific Island states rely on police forces and small maritime patrol units for internal security, while countries like the US, Australia, or France provide defense if needed. In the Caribbean, places such as Dominica and Grenada use armed police units instead of military. Others like Costa Rica, Iceland, and Panama have no army but maintain limited forces with some military functions, and rely on international partnerships for protection.
Makes
Vatican City
sense.
also has no standing army. It maintains the Swiss Guard for the Pope's protection, while
I
Italy
mean,
informally handles its defense.
I mean, it's
This
tiny, so it
one may
makes
not be a
sense.
geography or culture fact, but it's still kind of cool. In 2004, during the Indian Ocean tsunami that killed nearly 250,000 people, a 10-year-old girl named Tilly Smith saved her family and about 100 others on a beach in Thailand, all because of a geography lesson. Just days earlier, she had learned the warning signs of a tsunami in school: the sea pulling back and frothy bubbles on the surface. When
Wow.
she saw those signs, she urged everyone to evacuate. This story is a reminder
What's even better about that is the people actually listen to her as well. Wow.
of how powerful learning can be. And not just learning information, but recognizing patterns, solving problems, and thinking clearly when it matters.
Pattern recognition is very, very important, ladies and gentlemen. Pattern recognition is vital.
That's exactly the kind of thinking today's sponsor, Brilliant.
Brilliant. Let's see. Use code Geography Geek at brilliant.org to get 20% off an annual premium subscription. That's pretty awesome. Code Geography Geek, ladies and gentlemen.
And Tajikistan signed a landmark treaty resolving their entire 984-kilometer border dispute. This conflict had led to repeated clashes over decades, including a major flare-up in 2022 that killed over 100 people and displaced tens of thousands. The agreement included land swaps, joint water management, and reopened border crossings, which not only ended violence, but also reconnected communities. In a separate case, India and China reached a border patrol agreement in October 2024 to ease tensions in the Himalayas. Since a deadly 2020 clash in the Galwan Valley, both sides had built up forces in the area. The new agreement restored patrolling rights, created buffer zones, and led to phased troop withdrawals in contested areas. While
I didn't even look. Was the
reached a
map a
border
correct map? No. The awful, terrible map. The wrong map. This is the wrong map.
patrol agreement in October 2024 to ease tensions in the Himalayas. Since a deadly 2020 clash in the Galwan Valley, both sides had built up forces in the area. The new agreement restored patrolling rights, created buffer zones, and led to phased troop withdrawals in contested areas. While it didn't settle all disputes, it significantly lowered the risk of military conflict between the two nuclear powers. It also allowed diplomatic and trade talks to resume, which had been frozen for years. Again, I think this one is good news, but after 14 years of civil war and isolation, sanctions on Syria were mostly lifted in May 2025 following the fall of the Assad regime in December 2024. The US, EU, and UK erased restrictions to support Syria's political transition and recovery. Saudi Arabia and Qatar pledged financial aid, and
I mean, I don't know, man. The leader of Syria now is I mean, he's got ties to a lot of terrorist groups. Like he's not a great person. I don't think this is an uplifting news.
Syria's stock exchange reopened, marking a major step towards economic reintegration. In 1988, wildfires burned about 36% of Yellowstone National Park, and many believe the park was permanently damaged. But within months, new plant life began to emerge. The recovery surprised the public and reshaped how wildfires are understood. It showed that fire
Wildfires are incredibly vital to the regrowth and fertilization of the land. Usually, when a fire goes, it all that the nutrients go back into the earth, and it allows for like the underbrush to flourish again. Because if you get too many trees, the trees will build up and it'll block out the sun, and the underbrush just can't thrive, right? So you kind of almost need these constant fires to go through and kind of clear up the land a little bit.
can renew ecosystems, that nature is resilient, and that not all fires need to be suppressed. Cambodia has made some big improvements to clean water access in recent years. From 2018 to 2023, the amount of clean water produced went up by 32%, and the number of homes with clean water rose by 66%. Over 85% of the population now have access. Major new water projects are adding even more capacity, especially for people in cities and poor communities. Cambodia's goal is to provide clean water to everyone by 2030. Formosa, Argentina, and Taiwan, once called Formosa, are nearly exact opposites on the globe. In 2008, Swansea, a city in southern Wales, put up a bilingual road sign with a major mistake. The English part correctly said, "No entry for heavy goods vehicles, residential site only," but the Welsh translation read, "I am not in the office at the moment. Send any work to be translated."
Oh my god.
It turned out the council had emailed a translator and accidentally used their out-of-office auto-reply as the official translation. The sign was installed before anyone caught the error.
Oh my
This map
god.
from Our World data shows how dramatically life expectancy has increased around the world since 1800. At that time, the global average was just 29 years. By 1950,
Holy crap. That's insane. 29 years? I'd be dead.
it had risen to 46, and by 2015, it reached 71. Africa
Wow.
improved from 26 years in 1800 to 61 in 2015. Asia from 28 to 72, Europe from 34 to 78, and the Americas from 35 years to 80. In the 1830s, Sweden planted an oak forest on the island of Visingsö. The trees were carefully managed for nearly 150 years, but by the time they matured in the 1970s, wooden ships were long obsolete. The Navy no longer needed the wood, so the forest remained. Sweden's forest cover has doubled in the last 100 years. Global literacy has improved greatly over the past century, rising from below 25% in 1900 to over 87% today. And that's all for this video. If you enjoyed it, you can check out some of my other random facts videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite greatly. Link to the video, again, will be in the description down below. So please, 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 please go and check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Geography Geek. I really enjoyed this channel. Also, Geography Geek at brilliant.org for 20% off their annual premium subscription. My grandpa would get thrown in jail because he was a heavy drinker in Oklahoma, but they would have to let him out to interpret Cherokee/English for the courts. Levi Smith and my great uncle was the first 5 tribesmen to receive a bachelor's degree. Wow. Interesting. Heavy drinker. It's that's an unfortunate occurrence as well. With I've lived next to a reservation, and unfortunately, a lot of people there. It's just because of the disparaging situation that they're forced to live in. The historical just issues. But yeah, a lot of them tend to be a bit heavier on the drinking side. Well done, Cambodia. Yeah, we live in tough times, but it's interesting things like your videos that help me carry on. Thank you. Uplifting fact for me is Bojangles is going to open locations soon in my state, Colorado. The Caribbean is named after one of the tribes that originally lived there, Carib. Did not know that. The Vatican always reminds me of what happened there in September 1978. The Cardinal Albino Luciani, Pope John Paul I, had been in power for 33 days. Then suddenly on September 29th, he was pronounced dead. To this day, no one knows for sure what happened. The Vatican never performed an autopsy. I mean, you never know. You never know. So this ended up being slightly less than 10 minutes after a sponsor, even though I said 10 minutes off the start. I took some parts out and forgot I said that. I apologize for that. Here is another random facts video I made without a sponsor that probably haven't seen if it's any comparison or compensation. Also, maybe I should have started the intro how I did, but to be clear, I don't think it was more difficult to find uplifting facts than depressing ones because there are just overwhelmingly bad things going on in the world. It's just that people seem to be more attracted to bad news, so the news covers more depressing news. People post about it more, it talked about more, etc., etc., etc. So just easier to find. He's fine. He's fine. You're okay. Paraguay is currently the only country in the double-sided national flag. Double-sided. What happened to the UK on this map? It does seem kind of far up, doesn't it? Wait, also where's though yeah, it's entirely wrong. Like Ireland's gone? It seems way too far up as well. Also, the map of India is wrong as well. Interesting. Oh, that's all the comments. Quite the depressing intro. Kind of ruins the possibility of being uplifted. Did you know that until 1948, the region known as Syria Palestine had kept the same name for almost 2,000 years? What was the name? Did you know that Palestine is a romanization of land of Philistines? I'll give you one guess who the Philistines were and slash R. And no, it isn't the sand fleas. What the hell? Huh? I'm confused. I'm very confused. I'm assuming this is a slur meant for somebody. I'm very confused. Huzzah for GG. That was nice. Please, the most depressing geography facts. When times are bad, I take solace in how much worse they could be, honestly. I've already done that video. All right, guys. Interesting video. Interesting video. I liked it. Go check out the channel, Geography Geek. Amazing channel. I'll catch you on the next one, yeah? Take care. Goodbye.